Second, 15,000 disposable cups are made. And just for one of them to be made, 16 cups of water is used, and this produces 2 cubic feet of carbon dioxide. At 15,000 per second, it only takes 1 minute to fill up Taman Jaya with carbon dioxide. And that's just from plastic cups. The numbers for plastic forks, plastic bags, and plastic containers is just as bad. Yet, UNESCO reports that only 10.1% of our plastic is being recycled in Malaysia. Good morning, everyone. I'm Asia from L6S, and today I'm here to challenge your perspective on one of the most common environmental practice, recycling. We've all met with a very stressful decision every day. And no, I'm not talking about whether we should start studying for exams, but rather, what bin do I put this in? Where do you put your snack wrappers, worn-out textbook, used-up marker pens? Do you put them in the bin, in the rubbish bin, or in the recycling bin? Now, if you have any doubts at all of any of the items I said just now, you are not alone. And that's because recycle is confusing. And all the mixed messaging out there just make things worse. But the real answer is, it depends. It depends whether the material is recyclable, whether the material is actually being recycled, and whether it even makes sense to. It all leads to different answers. But before deciding which bin to use, let's think about where your waste actually goes. Imagine you're at home, you separated your trash into waste and recyclables. And when MPPJ comes to fix it up, it picks it up separately. And your recyclable ends up at a material recovery facility, which is where your recyclables are said to be recycled. But that's where the narrative ends, in all of our textbooks and educational videos. What many people don't realize is, in order for these materials to be recycled, it has to be bought and sold at an international market. Plus, it has to be cheaper than producing new ones. After China's 2017 import ban, countries like us have struggled to find new markets to send our waste to. So, where does our waste actually go? Well, I'm sure all of our economics students here know that it's just basic supply and demand. When our supply of waste remains unchanged, and there's no replacement for China's demand, the demand line will slide down the supply line, and our prices are going to drop. Moreover, our quality of the materials has to increase. This means no more wax cardboards, no more food waste on our recyclables. The ongoing reliances on international markets as well as the strict quality controls cause our recycling to be less sustainable. Next, downcycling is another aspect of recycling that we rarely talk about. Basically, it's when materials are recycled into products of lower quality and functionality, rather than being turned back into its original state. For example, when a plastic bottle is being downcycled into polyester fibers, which is used to make our clothing, these type of fibers normally cannot be recycled again. Thus, they will eventually end up in landfills. This process not only diminishes its value, but it also contributes to the misconception of recycling being the perfect solution. The truth is, each time a material is being downcycled, it's actually one step closer to being unrecyclable, turning our recycling efforts into a slow march towards waste, rather than a sustainable loop. So, even if your plastic does end up in a recycling center, it's most likely turned into something less useful, prolonging its life in the system, but not actually solving the problem of waste. Basically, downcycling is a temporary solution, not a sustainable one. Another issue of recycling sustainability is its inefficiency. Let's take a closer look at something as simple as a plastic bag. An average plastic bag is used for only 12 minutes. And before this brief moment of utility, it goes through an extensive process of oil extraction, refining, manufacturing, and transportation that is normally across the borders. After its use, the bag, if lucky, might go through the recycling process. But this means it goes through even more of these processes: transportation, reprocessing, and sorting. This entire cycle itself consumes vast amount of resources with minimal benefits. It's not only inefficient, it's fundamentally unsustainable. So, when we talk about recycling, we need to recognize that it's not just about putting the things in the right bin. We have to question the system. We need to question the system whether it makes sense in the long run. To be clear, I'm not saying that we should stop recycling. In fact, we recycle much more and ensure that we're doing it correctly. But I'm also saying that it's not the solution to our waste addiction. We grew up with the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. And for the last half a century, we've been focusing only on the last resort. We need to stop thinking of waste as something we have to manage. Instead, we think the way we do things so that we can make less of it in the first place. Since I started talking, 15 million cups have been thrown away. But we don't have to repeat this again tomorrow. With little effort and time, I believe that we can reduce our waste and move towards a more sustainable future. Thank you.